need to provide security, because people must be able to work in the night without armed robbers going to attack them. So it means that we must provide more police officers. We must provide all those companies with security so that they're able to do their work. But if we have to provide more police officers and security men, it means we will employ more young people to join the security services to be able to make the 24-hour economy work. And so it doesn't mean that if already one or two industries are doing it, or one or two companies are doing it, we cannot provide incentives for more of them to do it so that they can provide opportunity for more young people to get work. And so it is our policy, we'll implement it. It's not by force. When we come, we'll open it. The initiative is available. Any company that wants to work a shift system and work more than the 8 hours that they normally work, from 8 o'clock to 5 o'clock, they will sign on and we'll give them tax incentives. Because if you work the extra shift, you will be given tax breaks. Aside from that, you'll be provided with security and everything that you need to be able to employ more people. And so it's a project that we will adopt. We have a group of experts working on it. We'll roll out the policy, and companies that voluntarily want to sign on will be allowed to do so.
His adversaries across the pond dismissed it. Just as another campaign talk, that is until the General Secretary of the Trade Unions Congress, Dr. Yaba, an economist, described the strategy as a game changer. And then it appears panic setting across the pond, and even inside it. Those opponents reduced the idea of a 24-hour economy to having fun at night. Hence, in the 2024 budget, the finance minister tried to upstage Mr. Mahama by promising everything from a night in the sport economy to a night economy and tourism, to the development of Black Star Square into a city light center to drive the night economy in Accra and create a welcoming nighttime environment. And finally, to the use of astroturfs to create vibrant night economies in their host communities. Not to be undone by the finance minister, the vice president, and chairman of the economic management team, and the NPP's flag bearer, settled, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, then indicated that, of course, he's reported to have said at a political rally that Mr. Mahama doesn't understand his own policy, and moved on to also say that it doesn't make sense. Well, we sure should be able to get to the bottom of this today. So first, let's listen to the Vice President of the Republic of Ghana.
Because of digitalization, the banks, you can transfer money 24 hours. You can receive money 24 hours. Isn't it? So he doesn't understand his own policy. It does not make sense. And I want you to vote in 2024 for Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia. I will bring a new vision. I will bring new policies. And we will transform this country. John Mahama is the past.
Well, representative of the former president, the NDC flag bearer, will be joining me in the studios here. He is a member of parliament. He's also ranking on the Energy and Mines Committee. He's also a member of the Finance Committee. John Jinapor will be my guest. And from the office of the vice president, an economic advisor, a man I've known very, very well for a very long time, Tia Kabiru Mahama, will also be joining us pretty soon after this break. You're welcome back to UpFront. Tonight, our focus is a mini debate on the 24-hour economy policy. That's raising a lot of storm on social media and elsewhere since Mr. Mahama announced that. And the Vice President responded, and there has been a bit of a back and forth on that. Joining me in studio now is a former Deputy Energy, was it power then? Sometimes they confuse the two. Deputy Energy Minister, I want to maintain, and also the ranking member of the Mines and Energy Committee in Parliament. He's also on the Finance Committee, John Jinapor. So the NDC's Jinapor is my guest, and the NPP's Mr. Mahama, Dr. Mahama, is also my guest in studio here. Gentlemen, you're welcome once again.
Thank you.
Let me start with the originators of this policy. To the person who is confused about all the talk about a 24-hour economy, very briefly, what does it mean? What does it entail? And where is it coming from?
Thank you very much. First of all, we are all policymakers, both in opposition and in the government. And what I understand about policy is that it's an action by government to which you commit resources aimed at achieving a certain objective. It could be solving a problem, enhancing something, or meeting a certain target that you set for yourself. So that is generally what Thomas Dye would describe policy as. And normally, policy comes because one individual cannot deal with it. If an individual can deal with it, normally it doesn't become policy. So government, central government must step in. And it normally has broad impact on society. So President Mahama is proposing a 24-hour economy. What does that mean? Traditionally, and it's basically based on growth theories, and don't understand economics. Theories of growth, generally, especially if you take Rostow's growth theory, you start from an agrarian system, you go to precondition, you go to takeoff, mass consumption, and then you reach the peak. So if you break it simply, you will normally start from agriculture, move to industry, and then you go to high tech, which is service industry. So typically, it's not always the case. Typically, you expect that agriculture will be the basic bulk of the economy. Then you start with value addition. Then you move to industrial base. From industrial base, then you move to the service or mass consumption and to very high tech. So you see that in the United States and most developed countries, their growth rate will just be 1%. But because their spare capacity is very, very low, they've almost reached their peak. But for a developing economy like Ghana, you have what you call spare capacity. So you want to take advantage. And so you are hearing things like excess capacity, unemployment, utilization of your resources. So you must have a policy that optimizes the use of those resources. That's one. That creates the job. And then if you look at even the growth theory, there's a growth theory where most people move from the villages or rural areas into the urban areas. And that's what we are seeing now. Ghana is getting to a level where urban population is overtaking rural population.
Actually, as of the last census,
that is it. Yeah. I think that's Leonard's theory. So therefore, you must create a system where you have what you call transformational growth. And to have transformational growth, you must put your economy in a situation where the mass of the people, especially the youth, you are able to employ them. And one key area is the industrial sector and the construction sector. So what President Mahama is proposing, and it happens in the oil sector. Fortunately, maybe because I did finance economics and energy economics, I seem to have a fair appreciation. In the refinery sector, for a refinery to be productive, the key issue is your breakdown time. Because oil prices are determined in the international market. You don't determine it. Processed oil, which is like diesel, petrol, is determined at the domestic market by a regulator. So you don't determine your input costs, you don't determine your final costs. The only way you make profit is when you are efficient. And so you must continuously run. So if you go to a refinery, they run both day and night. And so what is President Mahama proposing? That can we have a system where most of these industries that run only daytime can run both day and night? I think that's a noble idea. That's a welcoming idea. You don't brush such an idea aside. All these issues come with challenges. And no doubt about that. Every policy underpinning that policy is the implementation challenge. From conceptualization, planning, implementation, and review, you have challenges.
So where are we along that value chain you just mentioned, conceptualization to implementation?
He's conceptualized it. We've done some initial feasibility. He believes that it is workable, and he believes that when given the opportunity, he will work it. Just like...
Is there a policy document also on it? Is there
they're fine-tuning a very good policy document, which is being costed. It will tell you the value addition in terms of the economy. It will tell you the job creation capacity. And I do recall when President Acquah announced free SHS. Yeah. He was asked by the BBC, have you costed it up? He said no. It's an idea, it's a vision. He's announced it. We have even gone beyond the vision. And I'm telling you that a team is in place that is doing all the fine-tune, the fine details. Look, UK, the night economy adds 26 billion pounds to the UK economy per annum. The night economy. It creates 723,000 jobs, almost 1 million, and 1.26 million indirect jobs. In the US, in China, everybody is praising the night economy. So when I heard Dr. Bawumia say that shop bars operate in the night, and so what is new about it? I said, come on. We've been talking about the fight against corruption. Did we start today?
No.
Did President Acquah not say he will fight corruption? So he said that there is already an attorney general. There is a police service. So don't come and talk about the fight against corruption. I rather thought I would then ask, like you're asking me, what are you looking at? What is the vision? What is the policy? Where are you targeting? And I've just said that industrialization is a key area, because without industrialization, this economy will not be anchored.
Yes, so I'm just asking this question because there are questions that people have on their minds consistently. And mostly when policies come out, you need to ask them, which specific sectors do you have in mind?
I just told you the industrial sector, the manufacturing sector.
Yeah, but I know those are very huge sectors. When you break them down, which specific areas are you talking about?
So let me break them down. Take something like Unilever. Take something like a soap processing factory. Take something like an aluminium processing factory. Normally, most of the industries in Tema, they go in the morning and by 5 o'clock they are closed. And he's cost me and my team. And we've done a policy document. And you see, that's what people don't get. The various sectors. The main pillar is the 24-hour economy. So the energy sector, how does it affect you? What can you do? We submitted a document to President Mahama. So let me just even address the energy sector, because that is where I normally deal with. Between 7 o'clock to 10 p.m. in the night is what you call the peak hours. So from 6, you start ramping up. By 7, you peak. 10, you then tell the plants to come down. And sometimes the difference is about 200 to 300 megawatts. We have what we call time of use tariff. And with smart meters, you can have a SCADA system where you sit at one place and say that, look, in the evening, if industries are working, and fortunately in our system, we have commercial and residential. Commercial workers, instead of say paying 2 kilowatt cedis, 2 cedis per kilowatt hour, pay 1.5. That's a huge incentive to them. You know what it does? It makes energy cheaper. It puts these industries on a competitive edge. It creates jobs, but even in the energy sector, it deals with excess capacity.
Okay, so hold on.
Because the 200 megawatts that you'd have shut down and keep bringing up and paying capacity for non-use of energy, it will plateau. So that there's consistent use of energy, consistent use of your gas, there's predictability, there's certainty, there's cost savings, but more importantly, it makes your economy competitive and puts you on a cutting edge that creates jobs and grow the economy.
I get you.
That for me is a game changer.
I think we'll drill down further. We'll get to the crux of this, but let me bring in Dr. Mahama to this conversation. Doc, it appears the Vice President was in a hurry to dismiss this. What's your problem with what's just been said?
All right, so thank you very much, and good evening to you and to your cherished listeners and to my senior brother, John Jinapo. You see, I like the angle from which Mr. Jinapo started, because it's solely based on economics. And he used a very famous economic theory, the Rostow-Groove theory, to illustrate or to form the basis, the foundation for the argument. And for the purpose of the education, he rightly mentioned some of the stages. Agrarian stage, precondition to take off, drive to maturity, and stage of high mass consumption. These are the 5 Rostow theory of development. Even though critics of this theory have posited that it has somehow suggested that development is kind of a mecca where people will traverse, and that not every country, not every country will pass through. Not every country will pass through this stage. But it's quite important to understand that in the definition of 24-hour economy, basically, it is the activities of the night made same as or driving activities in the night so that it will be as if activities in the daytime to run the economy 24 hours. Basically, you create diverse opportunities for activity to take in the night, similar to those that are taking place in the daytime. Now, this concept is not new. In the city of Sydney, there is a policy basically designed for night or 24-hour economy. And this policy, based on the theories and based on the foundation, is based on post-industrial and post-Fordist development stage. In other words, after the mass industrialization stage. And the argument has only been that we have reached a stage in their development, especially in the advanced country, where you don't need mass production of things, where you need heavy equipment. You need smaller equipments, flexible in smaller units. That is the post-Fordist stage of development transition. Okay, that idea is peculiar to developing countries, and developed countries. And developed countries have not even attained a stage where every part of the economy would go with that particular route. So when the idea came,
Doc, I beg you, I want to...
No,
I'm not...
I just want him to...
I'm writing something. You said only developed countries can go to...
I'm making the point that...
we're doing it.
I'm making the point that 24-hour economy is a post-industrial and post-Fordist development transition. In other words, countries that have attained the high mass of consumption, and I gave example of Sydney, where their economy is 0.1% of agriculture.
Yeah.
Our economy is still around 40%. Okay, so there's huge gap between the policy that has been implemented successfully elsewhere and what we are trying to implement. So when the Vice President look at this and look at the structure of the Ghanaian economy and look at what is being proposed and even details now trickling in, the only conclusion the Vice President will make is that this policy will not make sense in the context of the Ghanaian economy.
So that's why he said
that is why it doesn't make sense. And that's what the Vice President said, it doesn't make sense. Reason being that, look, I have given the foundation for this policy, but this foundation is based on certain prerequisites. One, the former president, His Excellency Mr. John Dramani, mentioned right to security. A country that is struggling to do with police to civilian ratio of 1 to 500 is thinking of implementing a 24-hour economy. 2, infrastructure. A country that cost of energy is so high for the production of goods and services by the routine production, you are thinking of 24-hour economy. Aside that, a country that the work culture is also different from the advanced country, you want to implement 24-hour economy. Aside that, this policy is huge on huge infrastructure development, transportation. A country that the road network between the north and the south, we don't have proper railway system. Okay, we are thinking of night economy. We are thinking of 24-hour economy. Now, I'm happy the debate.
But you promised to put...
No, I'm coming. I'm coming. But government has started, even if it's one of the points. That's why...
I get you. I know the one that runs. That's what I'm saying, that you promised to do that because perhaps you have that in mind.
No. I'm saying that government has promised. It will come to a time that 24-hour economy is going to be an effect, a resultant effect of the intervention government has. But I'm happy that in their last approach, they were pointing the big push approach. I'm sure they have abandoned that. But that big push, inherent in that, okay, if they had revived that, inherent is that, is it 24-hour economy that we are talking about? So generally, we have certain issues, and if we will go to the details, I will outline each and every one of the issues we have with the policy.
Are you talking about the ones you just raised, the security infrastructure?
Apart from that, we have other issue. One.
So you first attacked the theoretical basis for doing so.
Exactly.
Yes, and you moved on to the other challenges that comes with infrastructure and other things.
One.
You mentioned security and the other issues that are supposed to be besetting that.
Exactly.
And you're saying that's the basis why the Vice President says it does not make sense.
Yes. And 2, one of the things in economics is the Keynes law of microeconomics. Keynes law of microeconomics simply tells you that demand creates its own supply.
Okay. You can have demand in supply.
I.e.,
if the people want... what they call it?
When the demand for that particular service or good is far outstripping the supply,
industries, companies would adjust because their aim is at profit maximization.
They will work 24 hours.
They work 24 hours to meet that. And that's why we argue that there are typical companies in the country. For instance, he mentioned about even port. I heard Samin Jeffrey mention the other time, port is running 24 hours now. Okay? MPS is doing 24 hours, 24/7.
Note what he said.
That is one. Two, we have certain manufacturing sector, they are doing 24 hours. What do you call farm milk? Workers are doing 24 hours. Everywhere across the country, across the globe, government works 24 hours in certain sectors, critical sectors. Health is one of the sectors. Every country, every serious country, even developing countries, are working 24 hours.
So why is this a critique?
No, because the policy is suggesting that there is no remnants, there are no traces, there are no evolving 24-hour economy in Ghana. And that this policy is seeking to create. If the argument was that we want to enhance, we want to enhance the evolving 24-hour economy that is ongoing, no one would
fight that.
No one would.
You're saying it's not novel.
It's not novel. That's one.
It's something that's already happening in sectors. And so you cannot claim it as a novel.
You cannot claim it as a novel introduction that you seek to say that I'm trying to devolve Ghanaian economy into a 24-hour economy when that process is evolving.
Let me understand this. Is this contradictory or complementary of your earlier statement that we are not there yet?
No. We are not there yet. It is complementary. Let me explain why it is. One, I'm saying that he mentioned the Rousseau theory.
Yeah.
Okay, that was the basis of that. And I'm saying that every country that is doing, and there's no country in the world actually that is doing 24-hour economy. That is a fact. Okay, no country.
How do you mean?
I'm saying that no country is doing full 24-hour economy. There are certain sectors, for instance, the financial sectors, the manufacturing sector of those economies. For instance, New York is a city that doesn't sleep. We all know that.
Yeah.
Because that is the hub of financial transaction, where systems are digitalized. People go on with processes 24 hours. We talk of Sydney, where only 0.1% of the economy is agrarian. The rest, about over 600 multinationals operating in the Asian Pacific are run from Sydney, Australia. So they have 24-hour economy to manage that. But the whole of Australia, the agriculture economy is not 24-hour economy. Okay? So that is the point I make. So I'm saying that to start with, no country is able to run 24-hour economy in every sector of the economy.
So they cannot say that the entire nation will run 24 hours. That's what you're saying.
That's the point. They cannot say that.
But can they say that certain sectors will be running 24 hours?
They can say that certain sectors where they are, which the former president mentioned, which they are already run, will provide incentives for them to run. I'm okay with that. The vice president is okay.
So exactly what is your problem directly with what he's saying?
No, the problem we have, I've explained the problem that if you are presenting a policy and you are suggesting that this policy is seeking to turn this country into a 24-hour economy, okay, when the 24-hour economy, based on the theory of economics which he has set as the foundation for his argument, which I have highlighted that and added more to that, I'm saying that process is natural development of economic processes. That's the first thing. And you cannot claim that it is through your ingenuity, your innovation, and your intervention that this country will run a 24-hour economy. Because we are looking for policy intervention. And for one
I get your point.
Yeah, for one to have just...
If you just, wrap up.
Let me wrap on them, because there are a lot to talk about. I know it has a lot of rebuttals. But for a government, to have... Mr. John Mahama had got 7 years of time at his disposal to think through a policy and to present this policy to the people of Ghana. And at this particular time, after 7 years, we are still having to say that it's in the conception stage. We have to do with whatever. I think that it is not even helping the discussion, because it would have helped more
if we had a policy document.
If we had a policy document, then we would then go into it and to see whether it is mimicking what we know in other countries, to see which one can work and which cannot work. And that is the reason why we are all in this particular red hearing and kind of trying to chase exactly what they are. And different people in the communicators of the industry have different understanding of this policy. But from the explanation, it is purely industrialization. Okay? And from his explanation, it is purely about non-economy. Okay? A non-economy is based on entertainment, pubs, cafes. Okay,
so?
I am telling you because the blueprint that I have just illustrated, the Sydney policy, which I have done, they have had contemplation of, specifically mentioned this as one of the anchors.
In fairness, they have not mentioned any Sydney policy.
I am saying that. I am saying that where it is run, where it is run.
Where is an example of this?
Example of where 24-hour economy is run. Okay, is the night economy, and I'm saying the night economy has certain anchors. One is the what you call hospitality and what you call creative arts sector. And when you go into this particular sector, the very component is what I've mentioned. Another is the manufacturing, which he has mentioned, which is the industrialization bit. Okay, it's another bit of it. Okay, so these are the key arguments we are having when it comes to this 24-hour economy.
What would you put, for example, if DHL in Bicester in the United Kingdom had their work structured this way? So there is the grouping that comes at 6 a.m. and by 2 p.m. they leave. And 2 p.m., another team is taking over. They leave around 9 p.m. Then the last team is from 10 p.m. till the next morning, 6 a.m. Is that a 24-hour economy being run in that particular factory?
That's a 24-hour.
Okay, so Mr. Jinapor.
And let me explain further that the 24-hour economy is structured based on the theory. We have the data, which is 6 o'clock, and which is like 6 a.m. now to 6 p.m.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, like the usual 9 to 5 kind of job.
We have the usual time. We have the evening, which starts from 6 to 2. We have the early morning, which starts from 2 to 6. Okay, these are the very breakdown. And the activities go on or should go on depending on the nature and, the sector the person.
Would they create jobs? Or a 24-hour economy?
Now, so let's come to the importance of a 24-hour economy.
Yeah.
Look, argument that 24-hour economy, when run, when government facilitate, when government support the already existing structures for the economy to run, I say it will create job, is no in doubt.
It's not in doubt.
It's never in doubt.
Okay, so there'll be more jobs out of that.
There will be more jobs. The only problem I am having with the explanation with Mr. John Mahama in the terms of job creation is a job creation focused or rationalized or conceptualized on the back of government employment. Okay, even though the fact that security is going to be provided brings our security, requires that many Ghanaians get involved, but that is just a small bit of it. Okay, the job creation prospect of that particular policy will have to be even the private sector. So I'm not arguing, and no one is arguing that a 24-hour economy, when implemented, or if in the likely event Mr. Mahama comes to office and he implements it, no one is doubting that too. But the problem is even the practical nature of that intervention. Another issue we'll come to is whether or not we have the faith that even given the opportunity as mentioned, because there are similar processes mentioned in the 2012 manifesto that were not fulfilled.
Okay, so that's what I'm saying.
We'll get there.
We will discuss all this policy.
Yeah, Mr. Jo, your reaction to the issues raised one by one.
You see, my brother, you know where all this problem comes from? Because you have a talkative vice president who wouldn't take his time. He hasn't seen the policy. Like you say,
there's no policy.
He doesn't know what it entails. It's not a night economy. We know what is a night economy. A night economy is not a 24-hour economy. And there's a classification for the night economy. I raised these theories for a purpose. The Rostov-Grove theory, the Lewis structural model and all, Harry Dorman and all those people. They are theories. Every theory is good as the underlying assumption. Theories do not hang in air. And that's why he made a point, and I agree. There are criticisms. It's not every country that even follows the stages growth theory.
That's true.
New Zealand did not follow it. There are several countries that have shown that even agriculture alone can lead to growth. We say that we believe that industrialization can help push the growth. And I'm not saying that the 24-hour is just based on industrialization alone. I just gave an example because my team was given a task to work on how the energy sector can benefit from the 24-hour economy. And I linked the energy sector with industrialization and construction, and to show how construction would benefit vis-a-vis how the energy sector can also benefit, so that you have a symbiotic relationship that leads to overall growth. He says that only developed countries can implement a 24-hour economy. That's one breadth. Another breadth, he says that we're already doing it. So which is which?
That was clarified, right?
No, which is which? That you need to be industrialized. You need to be like United States before you can implement a 24-hour economy. The vice president says it's already been done. And he gives an example of a chop bar. And then Dr. Kabiru says you need security, other than that you can't do the 24-hour economy. So all the chop bars that are operating the 24-hour economy that the vice president talks about, do all the chop bars have police guards there? The chop bars. Have you gone to a chop bar and seen policemen holding AK-47 and guns?
But not to simplify this, even the former president had indicated that security is an issue.
Yes.
That will be worked on. He said that in
is
the video
true.
we just played.
That is very true.
So he's stressing that does not make it a now.
But I'm saying that he himself says that some industry, he mentioned them. He said filling stations, they are working 24 hours. They don't have policemen sitting there. So when your mama talks about security, you have to enhance security. It's not a good thing. Then if you want to implement the 24-hour economy, a precondition is security. That should tell you that the flag bearer has identified security as a key issue. So then he will task the security team, like he tasks our team. Work for me. How can the 24-hour security relate to the 24-hour economy? He talks about infrastructure. I really thought that we've done a lot with infrastructure under you. I didn't know that we are so poor that our infrastructure is so loose and so bankrupt that we can't even support the 24-hour economy. I thought they said they've done unprecedented roads and that the infrastructure base has really increased. Work culture. You build work culture. You build work culture. Work culture doesn't just drop like manna. You build it. Look, Central, it's a new refinery coming up here. They are ready to work. They are going to run 3 shifts. And that's why I use the refinery as 3 shifts. Is that not good? If Central can do it, he mentioned farm milk. If farm milk can do it, why can't Aluworks do it? Why can't another company do it? So we then find out what are the challenges, what are the bottlenecks. Allowing company A to do a 24-hour system, but company B is unable to do it. That is the essence of governance. You engage, you find solutions, you bring policy, and ensure that you grow the economy, you create jobs, you improve living conditions. I thought the vice president would have challenged President Mahama that I want to see your policy. Then we are engaging in a serious debate. That would have been welcome. We would have welcomed it, yes. Now we are elevating the discourse. But when you start to do chop bar analysis, we have a major problem. It debases the whole thing. It makes it very, 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 very difficult. And I think that the vice president could have done better.
There's a point he raised about the other problem that the vice president had, which is to do with the fact that this is not novel, but it's being postured as a novel.
So Mama has not said it's novel. An attempt to grow the economy is not novel. Boost security is not novel. Increase productivity is not novel. Even free SHS. Akufo-Addo kept citing countries that have done it before. What is novel in this world? Tell me what is really so novel that nobody knows about this world. Even those of us who are in academia, they tell you that just look for a small opening and add to knowledge. You alone cannot create knowledge. His PhD, I'm sure his thesis, he's adding to knowledge. So if, assuming chop bars are doing 24-hour economy, and someone says, I want to take it to another level. I want to add A, B, C, D, do this, do that, do that. Is that not commendable? Then you say, oh, he had 7 years. We still have a sitting vice president. Is he not the head of the economic management team? He's the only person who's been head of the economic management team for almost 8 years compared to President Mahama. That is his core function, to manage the economy. Is the Ghanaian economy not in tatters? Is it not in shambles? Are we not bankrupt? Have we not declared insolvency in terms of paying our debt? Did that happen under President Mahama? 8 years under President Mahama. Did you ever hear of bankruptcy? That officially we write to our external creditors and tell them that we simply cannot pay. We come to you, the ordinary Ghanaian, and say that take a haircut. Almost 60 billion. Have you heard that before?
I want us to come back to the policy.
Please.
No, hold on for a second for me. I want to come to you, Doc.
This debate will be very interesting.
You said...
You said a good thing, Doctor. Now, nobody is new. We've seen the head of the economic engineering team, his performance. We've also seen President Mahama's performance.
We'll have
So we'll do a critical analysis that comes.
We'll have that conversation, but I want us to concentrate on 24-hour policy. You said you had other major concerns you thought should be raised and answered. Raise the concerns. I'll get answers from you.
One of the things that drive a 24-hour economy is the issue of technology and digitalization.
Okay.
In this whole discussion, not even the presidential candidate of the NDC and none of their communicators
has raised it.
Rather, they make ridicule of the fact that Dr. Bawumia is now a digitalization champion, moving from economics to, ICT. When inherent, integral part of the 24-hour economy is the need for us to have ICT or technology driving the process. Also, there is an issue about it's largely an urban economy. 24-hour economy is largely an activity of urban cosmopolitan areas. Now, even though from the background you said, which is rightly so, that there's now a transition demographically of our country towards much more urban, our country is getting urbanized. And to have such a conceptualization of a policy that takes into consideration the fact that we will get urbanized into the future is important. But now the reality is that majority of people are still dependent in urban agrarian economics. That point has to be addressed within the 24-hour economy. That has not been addressed.
Our address.
That has not been addressed.
I just don't want us to move. Just briefly to these 2 points.
Okay.
The digitalization and also the urban concentration of this policy.
Digitalization is very, very important in every economy. That's why you call technological growth.
You seem not to give the Vice President applaudis for that.
No, all of us have been doing that. I recall when President Mahama was minister, he spearheaded the introduction of mobile phones. At that time, when I wanted to talk to my father, I had to go to the charge office, charge office, the police headquarters, and book. And they would then send a wireless message or whatever message to him. And then they would say, come at 5 p.m. So you come and stand there, and you get a call, and you receive that thing, that big thing. Through President Mahama's initiative and instrumentality, today I can do a lot on my phone. In fact, all my books, my library is on this tablet. So if Dr. Bawumia is adding on to it, it's good. But I'm saying that his core duty is to manage the economy. That is his core duty. There's a Minister of Information. If Dr. Bawumia is helping the minister, I have no issue. But I'm saying his core function, and that is what they told us. They said, this is an economic guru. They will transform the economy in 8 years. They will grow double-digit growth. It's in their manifesto. They will reduce taxes from taxation to production. Everything was anchored on economic growth and job opportunities. Today, unemployment is at an all-time high.
I get the actual question from the president. I get the actual question is, he has not heard the role of digitalization in this 24-hour economy. Can you elucidate on that?
Digitalization will be at the core. And knowing President Mahama as somebody who is technology savvy, somebody who has been minister in that sector, he's tasked a team. They are working aggressively on that. So take it from me. I'm a member of the NDC. I'm a member of parliament. I'm the ranking member on energy. So at least when I speak, it carries a bit of weight. So I'm telling you on authority that digitalization, in fact, the 24-hour economy, it is the pivot. It is the pivot. And all the various sectors, interconnectivity, there's a synergy, there's collaboration, and there's a sense of working around together. So it's not just digitalization, job creation, even sanitation, everything would benefit from the 24-hour economy. Now let me deal with the second issue.
But we do not know as we speak exactly what role digitalization will play in that.
I'll just give you an example. Let me give you one example. I won't go for in my sector, digitalization. You need a SCADA system. You need smart metering. You need an efficient digital system that will communicate with the meter in that industry or that company, so that by 10 o'clock, the meter would calibrate itself and begin to charge at a lower rate. With that digitalization, that will not work. Okay. And already our meters mimic that system. So what President Mahama says is that we should ensure that when we come, we bring in smart meters that can communicate with the control and command center so that once it reaches like 10 o'clock, and they do that. Look, in UK, you know their peak hours, Saturday afternoon. And you know the time? Just between the, is it halftime or they call you, the football guys, when they go for whatever they call it, they start ramping the machines. You know why? Because when there's that break, the 15-minute break or is it 30-minute break, everybody goes to heat coffee. Everybody goes to open the fridge for a drink. Because they are so seated and glued to the TV. That's when. So within that time, you need a digital system that will keep monitoring and tell you the demand is. So digitalization is key. I've addressed that.
The second point.
Urban activity. There are a lot of people who are moving to the urban. That's why I talked about the Lewis structure model, which says that more people will move from the urban sector. They come with low technology. That's what happens. A lot of the people who come from the rural areas, they are not highly educated. They are not highly skilled. So you need industrialization. You need the manufacturing sector to take the bulk of them. And that is where you need the 24-hour
Except our
economy.
last census actually suggests that there are more unemployed people in rural areas than in urban areas.
But they are drifting and coming. And if you look at the trend,
so you don't want to
you
stop
see,
it. You
I
want to
think
beat
that,
them in the urban
I
areas.
think that President Mahama, you see, he's come out with this policy at a critical time in our growth trajectory. And for me, this 24-hour economy is a game changer.
That's also...
No, it's a game changer.
Well, you disagree again?
No,
you can't disagree. You disagree?
No, please.
I disagree that at this time of our economy, 24 economy is not a game changer. You just mentioned the people who are, in fact, we are living in the Internet of Things, artificial intelligence, where many of the people have the risk of even being unemployed because jobs they would have ordinarily been doing, technology is now replacing that. Okay. That is the reality, and that's the crux of the matter. That how does this policy address the concern of the Kaya people? How does this policy address the concern of the unemployed graduates in the country? How does this policy address the concern of market women? Okay, these are the issues that we are going to talk. When you are talking of 24-hour economy, you must tell me
I don't think that because he's here, some of this should be answered directly. But I need you to complete your thoughts. You must tell us how.
I need to complete. You must tell us how. For instance, in the issue of this, it is going to be at the center. At the center, how? It's been difficult. Unless you say smart metering. He used smart metering as an example. Smart metering is already ongoing.
Yeah.
We have smart metering. The ECG is doing an excellent job in smart metering. You use that as an example. That has already been done. You have to tell us what new digitalization is going to do in the scheme of things in this analysis, which has not been done. Another issue, which has not been raised in this whole argument, is a general issue about how the health implication of 24-hour economy. Health. One, you see, we had a country that national health insurance scheme run by the former president was almost on his knees. Okay. We are running in arrears in the payment of national health insurance. With the 24-hour economy, one of the clear, based on the literature, effect of that is that health of people, because people are now working all the time, people running shift, but industries begin to throw in emissions and all that, and the health complications of people begin to heighten. That's one.
So you're saying that if John works in the morning, you do in the afternoon, and I also come to work in the evening, how does that affect?
Then you change again.
Yes. So how does that affect?
I'm saying that the work-family culture is severely altered by the run of 24-hour economy, and that is on fact on the literature.
And they would have preferred not working.
And I'm saying that the work-life family culture alters significantly with 24 hours. For instance, someone has to run a day shift. At a point, he has to run.
Yeah.
Okay. What does it mean for the person? Change in the person's makeup in terms of this adjustment and the health implication for that. Two, because industries are running, for now, the implication of industrialization and the attendant health implications are evident. Okay, that is going to be, but how does this policy plan for the long-term and immediate effect of the health implication of such a policy? That's the point I'm making.
Okay, so now there are two main issues you raised, right? Please, a response from you quickly before we can get to
First of all, health issue.
Yes.
The 12 bars that Dr. Abamia said they've been running 24 hours.
No,
but he says that they are health. At the same time,
but so that
okay, let me give you examples. How did he say it? So let me give you examples.
Yes, please.
Farm milk. He mentioned farm milk. Port authority. He mentioned port authority.
Yeah.
Is that not? Farm milk and port authority. Are the workers not working? Are they dead? You see, in one breath, he says that, I was pulling some information, but even as I talk, I'll be looking for. In one breath, he says that it's not possible. In another breath, he says that it's already happened, it's not new. So which is which?
So let me
It says the literature.
I'm saying that.
Okay, no, I want to hear him.
And you know the problem with them?
Yeah, don't worry. Sorry, please clarify.
Economy is not implemented anywhere in the country as a country policy. That's the first. And that it is far-fetched to have a 24-hour economy for the Ghanaian economy. That's the first point. And having said that, in Australia, it is only practiced in Sydney. In the USA, we make reference to New York. These are city-based or what you call province-based activities.
Let me deal with
That's
it.
the point
Please
I
let me
made.
deal with it.
Okay, so
In Bangladesh.
Let him finish.
That is the point I made. Korea people may refer. Korea agriculture sector is not 24 hours. Okay, examples abound. So that's the point. First point I made. So it's not the case that I'm saying that it is possible. And one brother says it's not possible. I'm saying that you can. I even mentioned that Ghana has been running 24 hours economy in the health sector. All I can remember, because workers come on.
So your point is it cannot be a national policy.
It cannot be a national policy. That's the first thing. And when you are running a policy that you are seeking to transform economy, you must look at it in its holistic nature. The national nature of that policy is important. And that's the point I'm making. So I'm explaining that it's not the case that we are saying it's not possible. And on our we are saying it's, but we are saying that 24-hour economy, one, is natural evolution of countries.
When there is demand,
it will come on its own. That's the first thing. And you don't need any government. Okay? It will come naturally. Government role can only be ascertained to the fact that government wants to incentivize companies to employ more. There are already policies in the account that if you are employing more workers, we'll give you tax exemption. It is already there. So what new thing is this policy coming to add? That if you employ more people, you are getting tax rebate. It's already in the country. So this policy doesn't bring anything new that is not already existing.
I guess because we are entering the final section of our conversation.
I beg you.
There are key questions that...
No, he's raised some issues. I just want to deal with them.
Yes, you deal with them.
Yeah.
The key questions are, one, specific targeted, what they call it, sectors. Two, the number of jobs you are seeking to create with this particular 24-hour economy thing. And three, when are we expecting a policy document on this so that we can deal with it comprehensively?
Yeah, thank you. First of all, the policy is normally announced in our manifesto. That's our policy document.
When is your manifesto coming out?
I'm not a flag bearer. I mean, I have to be honest. And sometimes you have to be careful. We've done the energy sector, we submitted it. We even did a presentation. Other people have done it. It's been handed over to a team. Maybe I don't even need to be saying this, but I'm saying that when the flag bearer believes that this is the time, he would announce that. So let me put that aside. Dr. Kabiru, industries. If there is demand, when industries come up?
And so the question about
let's answer
number
that.
of jobs that will
So if people demand more, industries will be created. So why are you doing 1D, 1F? Why don't you just say that it's a natural occurrence? You say that you want to boost industrialization. It's been a complete and total failure.
So 1D, 1F is based on demand. That's why even the consultation of 1D, 1F, we're saying that you look at what do you call it?
Is that what they told us?
No, that's what we mentioned.
When
they said every district will get a factory.
Out the over 300 factories across the street.
Yes.
Which demand was the
demand
because most region.
Let me make that. We import goods and services, and if you go to the port, you have list of items we import into the country, which has huge effect on our wage bill. I mean, on our forex. It was on the basis of the import. The idea of 1D, 1F was to import substitution measure.
Let me deal with that.
So there is demand. If there is no demand, you cannot import goods.
Interesting.
People should not
go to WDR and I'll share the data with you. We are even importing more. Our import bill has rather increased. That's why I said...
That's the demand.
Please. That's why I said you just don't introduce. He said there was imports. 1D, 1F was to curb imports. It has failed. And the data is there. Our import bill has rather increased. And if you look at the 1D, 1F, half of those numbers are nothing but tax exemptions that they came to Parliament with. As we speak, there's 540 billion worth of tax exemptions in Parliament. MPs have said won't do that.
How is that connected to 1D1F?
Yeah. They ask him. They give you tax exemption.
You are saying that.
That is what they do. They give you tax exemption and capture it as part of 1D1F. That's what they came to Parliament to do. And the document, the memorandum, I can share it with you. This is a live program.
No, I get your point.
And we said they won't do it again because it's nothing but an avenue for corruption. The smart meters. You say they are smart meters. I'm saying that we are implementing meters that would help you to communicate and implement what we call time of use tariff. It's not about your smart meters. You don't even understand what
time of use tariff is there. That's the point.
In Ghana, we don't have time of use tariff. Please stop that.
No.
Stop that. We don't have it. It's not true.
Until he tells
that's
us
my
what
sector.
it is.
Time of use tariff.
Sorry, Honorable. Is it possible that you hear him out?
Okay.
Please.
No, is that your word that we have it?
It's my word that.
No, this is a live program.
There is a live program.
We'll fact check you. We'll fact check
you. You can fact check that you should allow him. I can even go to my app, to my meter. I can go to my meter and tell you the units have. I mean the credit.
No, that's not time of use tariff.
I can tell you.
You are wrong. That's not time of use tariff.
Okay, finish making the point.
You are telling us that you want to implement meters, smart meters. I told you they have already implemented smart meters. You are coming back to tell us that the meter you want to do is so smart that. Okay, it's so smart that it will communicate to you time of use tariff. And I'm telling you that the meter I use can tell me as a consumer the time of the time the gadgets I use, how much consumption of utility I've used. What is the time of use of
Let me tell you the time of use meter. The time of use
because
meter.
My time is
No, just 1 minute. It's calibrated such that say between 10 and 7, you pay 5 cedis per kilowatt hour. Between 10 and 12, automatically it adjusts and you pay 3 cedi per kilowatt hour. Not the text messages we get from the Nuru meters. That is not time of use.
I get your point, gentlemen. Because I've run out of time, I think we should continue this conversation.
We have to. We have
to do a second part of it.
We have to.
Hopefully by that time there's a policy that we are reading out.
Absolutely.
Anyway, and thank you so much, the Member of Parliament and also the ranking on the Mines and Energy Committee and Economic Advisor, my very good friend. I'm sure I will see you in the future once again.
No,
gentlemen, that's where we end today's edition of UpFront. Many thanks to you for watching the 24-hour network.